Hey guys, I want to show you a simple process to know what you can rank for. And I did this with a guy earlier today. He's totally sold on this project. We're unfolding it over the next week. But he came in and said, okay, I do plastic business cards. And what I want is to just start cornering the market. And I said, okay, so here's what we did. We went to SpyFu first and looked up a keyword that would make sense for his business, which works for anything you got. You got a ClickBank hop link. You got affiliate link, you've got something else. I can go take a look and figure out pretty darn quickly what you should be showing up for keyword wise, right? So if you don't know, we'll figure it out. Anyway, we came and we took a look and he goes, oh, wow. He thought the volume would be a lot higher. I said, no, not in this case. He goes, well, okay, let's try for something like this. Okay. And I'm like, plastic cards. It's pretty generic though. I mean, not even so many searches for that because it doesn't mean much. What about something else? Like, you know, we've got 11,500 similar keywords here. Plastic business cards. Now that has a purpose. That makes sense. I would type that in. It's like the difference between typing in snow and typing in snowman or snow days, right? Snow by itself doesn't mean much. Snowman means something. Snow days means something. Plastic business cards. It's got 2,400. That's like 5 times this right here. It's like, oh, wow, interesting. He goes, well, that's very much on the right path. And some of these other keywords too. I said, great. So we viewed them all, okay? And we sorted them by highest volume, okay? And just got a bunch of the results to show up on the front page, however many it was. And I said, okay, now go through this page and check mark everything that applies to your business. And he goes, okay. And he did. He started walking through and just check marking what applied to his business, and then we exported it. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Ready? Here we go. We've got that list right here. It's about, what is it? 145 words, basically. 144. And here's a search volume, and it's sorted by search volume, right? And so here's the thing. I said, and this is it. I got it sorted all the way down to like almost no searches, right? I said, okay, where do you want to be? Would you rather show up for one keyword on Google and it's this one with 2,400 for the search volume? Or would you rather show up for like 100 terms that are in the 24 each range? 12 each, 24, 28, 40, 55, 80. You know, say it adds up to 2,400. He goes, well, wouldn't it be easier and better to show up for the one keyword for 2,400? It's like, no. First, it's harder to win because there are going to be a lot more competitors going after that one keyword is theoretical, right? If you go short tail, usually you don't get a low ranking difficulty unless the keyword's not very useful to anyone. And there's a reason for that. A lot of people start the search saying plastic business cards, but you know how many kinds there are? Tons and tons and tons. There's embossed, raised letters, rounded edges, matte, glossy, transparent, you name it. And so the point is, even if you put an array on your front page and you show up for plastic business cards like everyone else, chances are somebody looking up and down is going to say, oh, I don't see the one I'm after, or this is just too many different things. I'm looking for this. You know, I want someone who specializes in that. And so they change their search and they add some wording to it. So like 570 searches a month for embossed plastic business cards. Guess what? Probably most of those started off by typing plastic business cards. So when they typed plastic business cards, Google counted it. Google went 1 for that guy, 1 for that guy, 1 for that guy. And that's how it got to 2,400. But most of those guys who typed this, many of them said, okay, too vague. And then they figured out a way to get a little deeper to see if that did the job. And if that wasn't quite enough, then they went even deeper and longer and found a better way to say what they were looking for. But still, Google's counting every search on the way down the list, right? If one guy does 5 searches getting where it's going, that's 5 times, you know, out of this, right? What's the point? The point is this. This is like doing research to kick yourself off. This is just putting something in to get a relative bearing and see what you see and go, oh, now I've got a better idea what I should type. Okay? Then you start typing something better. What about this? Plastic business card San Diego for $9.50. Say you're in San Diego. Should you show up for that? Yes, if you can do them overnight. Why do you think somebody's looking for local? Because they're trying to get it done overnight. Otherwise, where does it matter where the supplier is? Vistaprint is somewhere in the US, okay? And you design your card in the Vistaprint terminal and send it in. And then they produce this stuff with high-speed machinery somewhere and then shoot it over to you in the mail. Get it? So the only reason people search local is they want like a Walgreens. They want to walk in somewhere where they can just take the picture off their phone, plug it in, and in 3 or 4 hours, they're going to have the order done. Okay? So you only show up for the locals in a case like this if you can provide fast, right? Having said that, here's the point. At this level, about 5% of the people are going to actually be interested in something, clicking on it. Probably 3% are going to turn into buyers. Okay? Keep that in mind. Like 75 people will buy something out of 2,400 up here, right? But what do you think it's like by the time you get down to, like, let's say 70? These guys are getting much more specific. I mean, the effort it takes to type longer, more words, more specific, these guys are closer to the sale, okay? So the percentage goes up down here. Instead of it just being like 3% sales possibility, there's more like a 20% sales possibility. It's like 7 times, 10 times as much. So by the time you're getting down like this, down here, it's probably closer to 10 times, okay? By the time you're getting down here, these individual searches are worth gold, okay? You can turn these things over if you've got a good page with good results for what it was they were looking for. If you've got a matching page, it's great. You know what's beautiful? Down here where searches are low, people don't tend to write content for those things. So guess what? Keyword difficulty, that. Okay, I went through this list. Here's one over 50. Okay, so this one's more difficult. Here's 70. This one's definitely more difficult, maybe out of our range, right? Like I say, anything over 70 needs stuff like domain age to compete. You know, you can't just do it in a day. You actually have to compete. Here's one for 67. Again, this is like bitter end of our range. I mean, it'll take us effort to win this thing, right? But do you know what? I went through this guy's 145, and there were only like 5 or 6 that were high end, 7 maybe, that were, you know, big like that. So only like 5% of all of his keywords have a high ranking difficulty. Only like 5%. We can include them just to be writing for the main topics as well as the specifics. But guess what happens? If you start writing for these, right? Short pages, because it's low keyword competition. You know what all these blanks are? No keyword competition. In other words, there's no competition. If I go writing pages for these things, I can expect traffic to hit my site. Now, Google will show results, okay? So, I mean, if I do the search for this right now, Google will show results. They just won't be as good as if I went in there and intentionally wrote about it. If I intentionally write about it, right? Then I can make that happen. I can even put all code onto my images and stuff, okay? But what's the point? You get high sales out of these longer tails, much higher sales. So I don't want to show up for one keyword that gets 2,500 searches up here, 2,400. I want to show up for 100 keywords that get 24 searches each. Does that make sense? Also, first, way easier to win. You win it like, well, I can't say overnight, but comparative to what it takes to win the short tails, you win it overnight. You'll win it in like a month, okay? And because there's a lot less competition even looking, you're walking softly and carrying a big stick, nobody sees you, okay? They're competing with each other up at the top, going 1 to 2 to 1 to 2 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 2 to 1 to 2 to 3, and they're putting all their effort and time and money into it for the few sales they got. But what are you doing? I mean, once you win these things, you basically just keep them. It takes very little effort. to stay on top. So what do you really want to do when you have a lot of these? You want to make sure to create a bunch of websites, or have us do it, so that you don't just have one website fighting for this thing. People are still going to see a bunch of results. There won't be any ads competing with you. There's nothing in the ads columns. Okay, so that's great. I mean, you're just going to be competing head on over the right thing. Okay, having said that, there will be other results. So even if they're less quality than what you have to offer, there's still a distraction. What do you really want? You want to make 10 websites. Because if you make 10 websites that aim for a bunch of these, you can add it up. You'll get like 28 searches plus 28 searches plus 28 searches plus 28. You'll get all of these in a month, basically, because all the people searching for those keywords are going to tend to click on your pages when they see a real clear match to what they're looking for. Does that make sense? And the percentage is high. So if I showed up for 10 of these, okay, that would be 280 searches a month. If the sales rate that came off of that was something like, I don't know, 33%, a third of 280 effectively, like 90, 95, I'd be getting like 95 sales a month. Why? Because I'm showing up for these where there's no keyword difficulty and there's like no ad competition. And because these are more or less longer tail, which is why there are fewer searches by the month, this is from people who are close to buying. And if I do it with 10 websites, I am the only god on the front page of Google for those keywords. They can choose what looks to them like the illusion of diversity. Oh, I like that one. But it's you behind the curtain. All the time, it's you behind the curtain. Cool thing is, we can integrate your same Stripe and PayPal API keys into all those different websites, those 10, so that they can each have their own payment pages and stuff. And people can pay right on those websites. And without knowing it, they're all paying into your one account, your Stripe account or your PayPal account or whatever it is that gets added later, right? That we integrate later. Or that you integrate with your own code snippets. You can do that, okay? So how's that for neat? Another thing that's possible is that you can have live tracking enabled on all these and live chat. It's the same one chat snippet, but it's on all of your websites. So whichever website they're on, when it pops up, it tells you where they are, the page they're on. So you know the website they're on. But when you have a conversation with them, or you just aren't even there, you get the stuff delivered to you because you're offline. It goes to your email. And you answer it usually within 24 hours, right? Or within 2 hours on business days. And you'll just like reply on your email. Hit send. And it goes back through the system to that guy. Isn't that cool? So that is neat, man, because you're not replying to that guy from your email. He never sees your email. He sees the interim email that has to do with the live chat feature that we already have incorporated with the way we do these things. Not only that, but you still get to see the recordings of the people who are coming through the site. It's just one account, Moment CRM, right? You sign up to one account. We put the code snippet on all 10 of your websites if you're doing 10. What happens? Doesn't matter which website somebody went to, what pages they went to, you're going to see those videos line up in your Moment CRM account, and you can start viewing any one of them that look interesting. Oh, that guy was on for 2 minutes. Oh, that guy was on for 5 minutes. That guy was on for a minute, I wonder. That guy was only on for 3 seconds. He didn't find what he was looking for. But when you're looking at the list, you can say, I want to check that out. I want to check that out. I want to check that out. It's all there for all of your websites in one place. So you can see really fast if people are having a good experience or if there's something you ought to do or can do to improve upon it, etc., right? How's that for just like guaranteeing that you're going to get where you're going, right? You already know that these searches happen. It's an average by the month, and probably seasons will affect it. There might be fewer in December, more in June, what do I know, or March, But having said that, when you show up for a bunch of these things, and the more websites you have, the easier it is. If you're doing a bigger package with us, the easier it is for us to create greater contents for more of these all together and spread them across your websites, okay? Because they're low competition keywords, it's so easy for us to rank. It's not hard for us to rank for the terms, right? That's the point. So what's that? That leads me to one last thing too. When we took these keywords, okay, all these keywords, I got to go to GPT-4 and say, tell you what, knowing how people search for items on Google or Bing, how would you separate these keywords into best related groups? Let me know if you're ready for the list. It goes, I'm ready, please provide. And I pasted in all those keywords, the 145 or whatever it was, right? This whole big mess of keywords. And it goes, here's the groupings. Group 1, general plastic business cards. Yeah, plastic business cards, plastic business card. Business cards, plastic. Plastic cards, business cards. Some of these I'm going to throw out because they're not grammatical, and I can ask GPT to take this list and throw out all the ones that are not grammatical or fix them and then give me that list back, right? How's that for nuts? Then it's got plastic business cards by location, which we're going to throw out. We shouldn't have actually grabbed those. Special features and customizations. Oh, and then it gave me this really huge list. I'm like, no. I see what you did there, and it makes sense, but here's what I did. For group 3 above, how would you further separate the keywords into 8 to 15 relevant subgroups? I really wasn't sure what I was going for. And they go, okay, here are the keywords from group 3 separated into 8 relevant subgroups. Price and quality. Kind of looks like menu on a website. General. This could be like general info. But then that's a page. Think of this as a menu on a website real quick. And if you go to that page, it'll talk about these topics, whatever they are. Okay? And I can toss out whatever I don't like from there. But here's another page you can click on. And it can talk about some or all of these. Price and quality, right? What about another page called card types and sizes? Oh, yeah. Isn't that a good page to have on the website? What about card and materials and finishes? Oh, it's a great page to have on the website. I mean, I can straight explain all these things. Colors and appearance. QR code and technology integrations, right? What else? Customization and personalization. Features like double-sided, full bleed, raised letters, embossed, right? And what else? Ordering and printing. Oh, you know what? This is cool. This is information driven. It's helpful. It explains to me what I need to know to want to order from the guy. So while we're writing each of these pages out, these are going to be topics onto the pages, say, we're going to have our pattern interrupts going down, going, ready to order, click here. Want to order, click here. Get a quote. Fast turnaround, click here. So that as the person's reading, they see that. And we can have the call to action bar always on the side. Click here to get a quote. So no matter how they scroll up and down, they can see that button. Click here to get a quote. Ooh, how's that for cool? Oh man, then I even went back and said, give me some ideas of just front page topics. And it just started spitting these out. And it was like, ho. Now, here's the thing. We do all this stuff automatically in our websites to produce multiple websites at once anyway. Except guess what we're going to do now? We're going to incorporate GPT-4 just because it's going to totally write this stuff even better. We'll have it done in about 48 hours. So we're going to give you guys a bit of a delay time and then the prices go up. So those of you that want to order this week, okay, before the prices go up. New releases. Here's what it means. If you order now, before the prices go up, you will get the free upgrades to GPT-4 on the inside of the website you order. Website or websites, however many you want, it's up to you. And what that means is your website will get a free ride to the better content generation mechanism because it's stable now. We've been watching it for a long time and it has become quite stable. So it's time. We can do this. And it also, another thing that we learned is this. Google doesn't want to see 3,000 words on a page anymore. They want smaller pages that are focused on their own points. So you know what I get to do? I get to divide these up. So if I go making 10 websites for people, they're going to have their own twists each time around. But it doesn't matter. They're all doorways into those websites, which means doorways to you, right? And because there's no competition on so many of those, you're just straight going to show up for all of those related topics anyway for whatever your thing is. Does that make sense? It's really unbelievable. Those of you coming in at the professional service level, here's what that guy was doing, by the way, right here. The idea of 10 websites. Why? He wants to be all 10 organic results. If you go to those keywords and there's no ads, might not even be any Google Maps, but people are serious. They typed a lot into the box. Then, I mean, they did it for a reason, and you show up and you have answers. And not just that, they don't know it's you, but it's all the results on the front page happen to be you. You're basically guaranteed to sell. Because when they go that far out and those are the best results, they're going to pick from what they see. Okay, I think you get the idea. You can ensure your success, especially because we can keep adding more pages. We can keep getting more pages into play, going up and down this entire list, creating more content based on all these keyword combinations going up and down, and diversifying out, but just capturing more and more of the fullness of these totally competitive or non-competitive pages, like from here to here, all those keywords, and then from here to here, all these keywords, and then from here to here, all those keywords. Just we can show up for these things because the competition is so obviously low on so many of those, almost all of them, okay? And this is true for everything. Once you dive in and realize where you can belong, it's here. The other thing to keep in mind is don't just aim for pitchy pages, aim for information-based pages, because when we write the information-based, we can still plug in those pattern interrupts and the call at the bottom saying, hey, anytime you're ready, we're here. You know, click here to see our catalog, click here to watch our video, click here to order now, click here to browse our selection. And then we can still have that call to action button float so that as they read, if they get excited this far down the page, they can reach over and see it and go, heck with that, I'm going to click it now because it's right there. Always right there. Even on a mobile phone, it looks good and works perfectly. Okay. Yeah, guys, this is beyond belief clear and amazing, and this is the way to go. So if you understood what's going on here, this is it. This is what we're doing, is we're actually creating these projects for people. And so do it now while the prices are low, because it's only going to get more expensive as we get more involved and demand rises, and the price has to rise because we run out of time. The fact of the matter, though, is this expensive? $2,245? No, not for 10 websites, it's not. For a whole year. That's $224 and a half, 50 cents per website. This is $295. This is $225. That's a $70 difference, right? That's how extremely cheap this is. But if you buy it, you put in your notes here, your email, what it is that you're after, and your notes, including your Moment CRM team ID. And if you do that when you pay, we're going to be able to read this and take off and do it. We can get your domains for you. We'll figure them out. We can figure out all the research for you for your keyword selections and choose the ones that fit what you're selling. If you got questions, we'll ask, or we'll send you the list to double check. And then we can literally come in here and group the keywords, and we can start creating the pages and spread them out across your sites. Now, for those of you who say, I want to go bigger. I'm in a bigger game. You can go bigger. It's really a question of your budget. I've got guys that have bought at this level. I got guys who bought at this level. I got guys who bought at this level. It's really a question of how competitive you actually want to be. By the time you get up here, it gets beautifully cheap in the sense that this is $160 per website instead of $295. Okay? That's crazy. And for those of you who say, I got to get on a subscription plan, maybe you can, maybe you can't afford it all at once, you can get on by the month. Or if you do the annual, it's really the same thing as up here. It's just different price points. So if you do the annual down, you save 2 months. You get 2 months free. In this case, it saves you $500 if you can do that. But what it means is we'll go ahead and do it all for you right now. Okay? And it's the equivalent in scope and size to a project up here. It's just different price points. Okay? So it's just a slightly different number of websites you'd be getting all the way around. But you can do the math on that, right? $2,500. If you pay it all down, that's 12 websites because it's one per month times 12 months. If you pay $6,750 down, you're going to get 36 websites. Okay? And you can compare that to something up here and you'll find it's right in between these two. It's between 25 and 50 websites. Right? So that's the idea. It's really how you want to treat it, but this is great, right? And these are projects we can build for you and hand over to you, even give you that access to log on to be able to take on these projects yourself. And by the way, there is a secret I don't even want to share, okay? But those of you who are buying at least at this level, I'm going to give you access to something that will guarantee happiness. You will have butterflies fluttering in your belly to the point where you almost have to break because you can't handle it. I mean, you're going to sweat and shake from the realization of how amazing that tool is. It's not for sale. And it's going to be there for those of you who come in at least at this level. So I won't talk about it. I'm just going to leave it for those of you who come in at least at that level. And by the way, speaking of that, the higher you go, the cooler that tool gets. Believe me, that particular benefit that I give you, shocking. All right, there you have it. I got done putting this out, so I'm going to leave this for you guys. By now, you must see that if you take websites that are incredible like ours, really, I mean, our websites are incredible. And whether you do it yourself or you're having us do it for you professionally, go for the right thing. So somebody said, what are some things you can name? It's like, okay, mattresses, compare them, right? Have a coupon code that works for any kind of mattress from the big suppliers that deal them all from the warehouse. And offer, hey, which is better, this or that? And let people go, oh, that's a good question. And they walk in, that's where you have your website with your answers for all these things, which we can do, okay? Mattresses are, I've watched a guy make a lot of money with it simply by asking, which is better, Sealy or Posturepedic? On a website that had some good information, then led people to the sale with his coupon code, which was also his affiliate link, so he'd get paid too. He made a lot of money with that. And I forget how many websites he had in play, but it was enough. It wasn't a ton. It would have been 25 or less, right? Just to be able to show up on the front page of Google multiple times. That's where the ROI is. See, if there are going to be a bunch of results on the front page and you're just one of them, that's like 1 out of 10. The chances of picking you are 1 out of 10. It's like 10 cups upside down on the table and the ball's under one of them. And you're inviting somebody to sit down and lift a cup. The one that they think is interesting. And probably the ball's not there. It's a competitor website. Yours has the ball under it, right? How do you do a better job of making money? How do you get better ROI? You have another ball under another cup. That can double your ROI. What if you had 3? Then you could literally triple your income or quintuple your income, depending on your fixed expenses before the variable gains. And so the more balls you have under those cups, the more of these links are yours. By far, the more money you make, especially on those keywords that are longer tail that you wrote for because they get traffic consistently every month, and you can write for them and be a really good result instead of the general generic crappy ones Google throws in there, since no one has good content for it, which we all know because the keyword difficulty barely exists. So beating those are so simple. What's another example? Mount Kilimanjaro cruises. I saw a guy start that project. He got really carried away with something else that took all his time, so he didn't finish it. But here's what he told me. When you go, they have tour groups, and the different groups have very different personalities, and they cater differently. Some cater even to the handicapped, where they'll push the wheelchair up the path. You know, you can go up no matter whatever kind of shape you're in. So you just get the cruise, you know, the tour, and you work with the guys, but then you let them know at what level of fitness you are, so they know how far to bring you, you know, on that tour to make it good for you, right? So, and it can be family, and they can cater the food, they can have the tents ready for you and everything else, so you don't have to know what to do. They do it, right? So it's really interesting. So that's one where those guys are dying to pay you commissions for the people you bring to their tours. That's because someone halfway around the world has to get interested in which group they want to go with. We just help. That's another good way to go. They're not very web savvy. Their websites are not that hot. What's another one? Boating cruises. We got one in Seattle. Buddy told me this. He took his daughter out and they went on a boating cruise where they fished. And they pulled up all this fish. And then the guys wined and dined them while the guys descaled all the fish and prepped it and wrapped it and everything. Handed it over. It was as though they went to the store and bought all that fish. You know, the fun part was when they did the math on the cruise and the poundage of fish they got. They spent less money to get the whole experience than if they simply went to the store and bought the same amount of fish, poundage of fish. They had a better time and got more fish out of it too by taking the tour. You know how many people don't know that? They don't know. They don't realize that it's like that. So what if we're writing for these things and guiding people to some of those tour guys? Heck yes. So what do? You make the websites already. Call through a forwarding phone number for like $1.50 a month it costs to get a forwarding phone number. Anyone can do it. A 13-year-old kid knows how to do it these days. And just redirect. So when somebody calls a phone number on your website, that's the forwarding phone number, it instantly rings the guy's real phone number because we assigned it to that guy or this guy or that guy, whoever it was we want to assign it to. Somebody in the area who we want to send the traffic to. But in the beginning, we'll do it for free because it's no skin off our back. And then that way, when people call the phone number on your site, they're instantly talking to them and they think they call their phone number. But the caller ID is the forwarding phone number, really. And so we'll be able to tell them later, hey, we're the ones sending you those calls. Not only because we know the phone number that they keep seeing, although that's a setting, we can flip it off. They can see the end guy's phone number every time. But we've got the recordings in the middle because that records the calls. Little MP4s. So you log into the dashboard and you just see a bunch of lined up MP4s. And you see how long each one was in minutes and seconds. You decide which ones you want to listen to. The ones that sound good, you can literally email the link to the guy and tell him, hey, or text it and say, hey, we've been sending you some of these leads that you've liked. Like Mary, you were just talking to on the phone, Mary Smith, who called you from this phone number here. Here's the recording. Okay, now they know you're not just a scammer or anything. It's like, oh, I get it. That Mary, that was a good call. And you sent it to me. I mean, there's a whole industry for that. Selling leads to people based on just getting people to them. So what happens when the guy says, wow, you're doing that? You just negotiate it, right? Basically, you would charge half the profit he gets for each one of those guys, or a quarter of the profit, because it's about what he has to pay anyway for his ads on Google Ads or on Facebook or on YouTube. Whatever it is he's paying is like a quarter of his profit. So you could charge him up to a quarter of his profit to send him more leads. He's probably not getting enough. If he is getting enough already, then what you can do is lower the price so that he's really tempted to back off what he's doing and come to you instead. But what happens when you make a bunch of websites? What happens if you have 100 in an area? Then you can send leads out to a bunch of these guys at first, and each of them, and then you start talking to those who got good leads, and whoever's like, heck yeah, I'll pay you a fair price right now, and I need a lot of them. We just mask the calling numbers to lead to this guy. So easy. On our websites, so easy. There's one place that we can make that change and make that happen. Okay? And up to what the guy gets. And then look for another guy and get him as many as necessary. We've got this whole mess of leads coming in organically from all those low keyword difficulty searches, right? That match. So the guys who are doing that, that's because we wanted to write about those keywords because it does fit the market that we're catering to. And so as those people naturally come, they naturally call, they're naturally talking to the right guys in the area. And then those guys are getting excited. We can tell because we're listening to the recordings. And the ones who are like, yeah, that was great. That was a good call. Because we know, we heard the recording, we know. Then they want to go buying leads. And we can redirect a bunch of leads at them because we've been building up these sites next to each other. If you just do one, it takes some time, like a couple of months or so, 3 maybe, to get some real traction. So don't build one, and if it works, build another one, and if that works, build another one. It just takes you 3 months, 3 months, 3 months to get anywhere. No, come in like a tsunami, because we already know what keywords to go for. We already know how to write perfectly. We're already incorporating GPT-4 to ensure top quality. By the way, you guys know that originality.ai is totally frustrated that it can't figure out how to really identify GPT-4 at all. It can't tell the difference between the bot and the human writing at the GPT-4 level. It keeps trying to say it can a bunch of times, but it keeps sending emails out going, we know we're having huge troubles with this. Please bear with us. It's because, yeah, how are they gonna? GPT-4 writes incredibly well. You know the difference, right? 3.5 passed the bar exam in the bottom 10%. GPT-4 passed the bar exam in the top 10%. The difference is extraordinary. So if we're writing with that, and we're writing a bunch of doorway pages into the site, small contents, you don't need huge contents anymore because there's no competition. So we write a bunch of those smaller pages on a bunch of websites that are going to rank next to each other. We totally saturate the territory, whatever that territory is. You can't fail. You know how much those cruise leads are worth each? Those things are like $400 for going out for like 3 hours. And so it's like $400. Okay? The guy would be willing to pay, because he probably has to pay already, $100. So if you had 10 websites driving traffic at 10 of those guys every day, and they were each paying you $100 for a guy a day, you're making $1,000 a day. I mean, that's the insane power of where we are now. And yeah, we're just taking this forward as we go. This is going to go into Decrypt My Leads. This is going to go through everything that we do there with the positions. We're going to keep upgrading and pushing forward. And we're going to look for the new content. So we're going to add to all the websites to have all those doorways. So it's great. I had somebody say, if you create 100 website or 100 web pages on the website, how do you handle the menu? Well, the menu's the top level pages, but we got a button. We press the button, we put in the domains we want to update, hit a button, and it creates interlinks in the wording. Okay, so for instance, see how this says professional services? It's a clickable link. Pretend this was a web page, and somewhere down here you're just reading, and it says to your professional services, or get the professional services. Guess what? That becomes hyperlinked, just like this hyperlink here. Click here for training videos. That just gets hyperlinked. And if you click it, it goes to the page. Google loves that. That is called great navigation. Navigation done right is navigation right down into the wording of the paragraphs. You know where you see it? When you read news articles. Go look up another news article and count how many links you find on the page that lead somewhere. In the paragraphs. It's a lot. All right, guys. I have never felt so alive. Just the ability to create and control and dominate in this territory at a level that I've never heard of before. I don't know anyone else who does it. Just writing isn't enough. We monitor perfectly. We can see video recordings of literally every person who came through every website, which means even on Google Ads or Facebook campaigns or YouTube. If people click the link and come to the site, we can see everything they do. And we can figure out how good the experience is for them and if they're finding what they're looking for. Not just that, but our websites are trained. We give them the high priority steps for each web page to act on independently. Each web page knows what its goal is. Each web page rearranges stuff and changes wording and makes logical decisions to increase the attention people want to spend to that page. And also the number of things people want to click on that page, like a video link, or check out your prices, or maybe fill out your form, or your quote form, or your newsletter. They want to go ahead and join it, okay? Or they want to give you a call, or they click to call, okay, like on a mobile. Google watches all of that. And because we can do that, we can rise. And you know what? The best way to win the keywords up here, generally speaking, is to write for the keywords down here, because you wind up becoming an authority website. You're writing for the ones you chose that matter to you. Remember, there were a lot more keywords in the original list. These are 140 odd that we clicked on because they do relate. Okay? So as we write for these on the website and we do the hyperlinking through the paragraphs, right? Then Google starts to give us the top terms because we've earned them. We're writing better than pretty much everyone else, probably everyone else in most fields, about those topics, okay? I think you get the idea. Get in now, this week, because prices are going to go up. They're going to go up on new releases, or going to go up on professional services. Part of the reason for that too, GPT-4 content is more expensive. So those of you getting in right now, you're getting in extra lucky in that sense, because you're getting in where the profits to us are a lot lower because we're pushed and the pays go up. But I want you guys in, all of you who've been listening to me forever and you listen to my 40-odd minute long videos and you're serious, get in. And the higher you get in, I've got a secret. And the higher you get in on that secret, I mean, I'm going to guarantee happiness with what you get. Okay, you'll have butterflies in your stomach when you understand what it is that I'm giving you. Okay, there you go. So, yeah, I mean, buy for this. What I'm giving you is like a gift. But what I'm giving you is just, I mean, if you're already buying for this because it's amazing enough for you to understand the value of, and you like this, then what I'm giving you will change your life above and beyond that, and you'll see why, and you'll love it. Okay, talk to you then.